I'm going to do a little bit of a throwback and go, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Replayer Podcast. I haven't started the show like that in a long time. And joining me this week is not Pagan, but we have Erika and Louie and Nate returning to the show. Howdy.
Howdy, partner.
Howdy, partners. Nate is showing his range with the howdies and the holas.
Yes.
I can say bonsoir, au revoir, because where I'm from right now.
Yes.
The basement.
Nate hailing from the land of France. And
That's it.
a basement.
The land of France.
The land of France.
I'm in the basement in the land of France.
He's in
I'm
France.
playing Valhalla DLC right now, and I'm in France.
Oh, well, there you go.
That's what I'm doing.
Wrong time.
All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Just wanted to point out, obviously, unfortunately, Pagan couldn't join us again this week. She's taking a little bit of a break to get some needed rest. She's been very busy. So we're just letting her take a chill for a little while. But, that gets us the opportunity to hang out with Erika and Louie and Nate. And we got some fun stuff to talk about today. But first, I just want to talk about a little bit of an elephant in the room when it comes to retro replay, and that is, where is Nolan North? I'm sure a lot of fans out there have been wondering that, and you've been asking the same question. You've been watching the new episodes of Retro Replay and any of the content that's coming out, and you're thinking, where's Nolan? And the short answer is, he's very busy, if you don't know. He's a very busy man. He's got a lot of jobs going on. He's actually going to cons again, so cons are starting to come back, and he's starting to go places. Some replayers have been fortunate enough to see him. We're hopefully going to go see him soon in Dallas next month. So he's on the move. He also just moved recently. If you didn't know that, he moved to Atlanta, I believe. And Retro Replay itself, the studio, has been in the process of moving. So they're kind of doing what they can with what they got right now. And to say, we're still getting some pretty fun content. And, props to Erika, kind of making your little debut there with the new Green Knight tabletop RPG
I about
sessions.
Cried when she asked me to do that. I was like, are you freaking kidding me right now?
Freaking kidding me.
I was very excited.
Well, before we get on to that, I just wanted to throw it out to you guys to have a chance about how do you feel about this absence of Nolan that we've been experiencing on Retro Replay lately?
It's actually been, it sucks not to have him there every week and having stuff happen, but I think it's allowed Drew and some of the others in production and everything to give out more content on really creative content, especially this last week with playing, Drew and Pagan playing the 12 minutes, I thought was fantastic because we were able to get a lot more video gamey stuff. And that's what I think is what Retro Replay is about, is showing the fun and creativity side of even some modern games when Nolan and even Troy played some more recent games. But I think it's allowed them to produce some more differently creative content, and I'm absolutely here for it. It's nice to have Nolan there when he's there, but at the end of the day, it's not solely his channel.
No,
it's just not, and he just happens to be a star, and we'll take him when we can get him.
Nice. And I wanted to piggyback real quick on that last comment you said. When Nolan was here on the podcast, he was very adamant of being like, Retro Replay is Drew's baby. He's like, I'm just here being an evil man or whatever, saying terrible things.
Yeah, that was a great episode. Oh my gosh.
Thank you. I was so happy to finally get him on. Anyways.
The greatest episode ever.
Now, yeah, because Nolan just crushed it and was Roadhouse and all over the place.
Roadhouse. It was so
Roadhouse.
We even threw it in to the Green Knight. I even threw that in a few times.
Of course, because you can't have anything without Roadhouse now. It's part of our daily lives. Nate, how do you feel about the recent absence?
How I feel about Nolan's absence right now? Well, we all know that he's a pretty busy guy, and honestly, I didn't notice that he's absent for like a big while, because Nolan is Nolan, and his presence is pretty much huge. So that's why I didn't realize it right now. But now that you mention it, well, we know that he's busy now. He's back on Comic Cons and everything, and that he moved on Atlanta. But well, when we can have him, well, that's good. But if Retro Replay cannot have Nolan right now, then they have to do what they got to do in order to keep this channel moving on and everything. Sorry if my English is approximative. If you
All right,
understand.
It was
good.
good.
That's good. Yeah.
Gotcha. And I agree. Nolan's got to do what he's got to do to pay the bills, and Retro Replay is not paying his bills, so.
Too bad.
That's true.
That's too bad for
It
him.
is too
because
bad.
that would be a second source of money for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think pretty much all
That
of
would
it
be
just goes to production costs.
That's what they told us. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. How about you,
Gotta
Louis?
keep that content.
I mean, that's something I was going to touch on as well, is the monetary gain out of it, which they have been very forthcoming that it does not pay for them, that they do everything the money that they get goes directly into the production and for other sources of people that work with and for them, which I just think is kind of telling that, like, okay, I'm going to try to say it like this. A lot of the people that complain about it are basically the same people that don't know where Troy went. In other
Yeah.
words, they're the
People still
that
asking where
don't-
Troy is.
Yeah, they're the people that don't frequent it enough, or they're so brand new, which is fine. If you're ignorant in the sense that you're new to the whole thing and you're going like, oh, I thought that it was a Troy and Nolan thing, but then you can kind of just figure it out on your own. But if you're complaining and you're just like, where the hell is this guy? Like, I came here for him. It's like, okay, well, read through the lines. The guy is a busy actor. He's, as you guys reminded us, everybody's moving, not just Nolan. The whole studio itself is moving.
Yeah, that's a
And
big thing.
they have jobs, they have lives, they have, families and all this stuff. To be able to get the things that we've gotten from them for so long without basic interruption is a godsend. It was inevitable. It was going to happen. These guys were going to absolutely get busy at one point, and we were going to lose a little bit of touch from them. Doesn't mean they're not ever coming back. It may mean that they're coming back in a different way. We're just going to have to get used to that, because at least they've given us what they did for as long as they did. Retro Replay has molded itself into, and if you don't believe me, just go to the freaking website. It's molded itself into a community that is based around other creators as well, giving platforms to people like me a chance that nobody else was ever going to give me. I always wanted to write for Cracks.com back when they were relevant, and I never got the chance to. And now Retro Replay is giving me that chance. I understand what it is that they're going through. I understand, and I fully embrace it. And I hope and wish that more people would, because that's what they're here for. So if I have to put up with watching Erika, Pagan, and Drew playing a tabletop game, and which is absolutely utterly enjoyable.
Let's not forget Wayne and give him a solid shout out for being a great
Wayne
game
was the one
master.
who put the whole damn thing together.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
It's his
he
baby.
Is solid. I have not seen that guy shake. The most he does is laugh, and I'm like, Except Erika, you have made him kind of go, what with your with Daywin's remark?
That's the joy of being a player, is to try to make your DM do that. Just like,
He's
Hold
done
on,
it a
maybe
lot.
some-
Where I think my favorite was, we'll get into it, but the whole Fox thing, I was on.
That's one of your main goal.
I could not breathe with the whole Fox thing. And then you said something right at the end when it was about to leave. Oh, was the green giant green? And like, I told everyone.
even
Huh? Yeah, like little moments like that. But we can't get those kinds of brilliance if all we're doing is just watching the one actor who's there. We got Liam. Well, we have All Get Good that is still doing their thing, and then they get people from the crew also involved onto that, and even some of the replayers. Like, what more do you want?
Right.
I have a massive thing that I want to put out there to like reiterate. Like everything on Retro Replay you can watch for free.
That is
It is
absolutely.
Watch for free at any time you want.
It's all
I pay to be able
free.
to talk to him once a month, and he kind of knows my name because I don't shut up. That's the only difference.
Yeah.
Shut
So
up.
if you want to talk to him, pay, assholes. $50 a month, all right? That's what it takes. Otherwise, shut your mouth. And
I mean, normally you have to
watch
go
what
to
you
the
get.
con and you pay for the tickets and you pay for the signing and the meet, and then that's when you get the chat forum for a few seconds. If
yeah, no,
that.
we got to talk to him for an hour. I got to tell him some of my own fundamentals on relationships the last time we talked, which was a couple weeks ago.
That was awesome.
insane. And then he also made fun of me for it. But it's Nolan North. What are you going to do? You know?
What do you expect? I showed
Absolutely.
Nolan my cat Nolan, and his first reaction was, "Wow, that's a fat cat." It just made my day.
And I can say that even like I'm still on just the $5 level as a member of Virtual Replay, but that even allows me to do like what some of us have here done, get into the live trailer talks and share our 2 cents on something. Like I got to talk about Halo with those guys and I loved it.
That was great. You just came in
Oh,
with
was
like
it?
knowledge bombs, and I'm just like, go down.
I loved how it's like they want you to ask a question, and I was literally just like, I just want to talk about Halo, and Drew was like,
Yeah.
Dan just wants to come talk about Halo, and I'm like, yes. that
Drew's
is
really
it.
good about that too.
Talk about Halo.
True.
Yeah.
On a side tangent, I just recently watched this little video that a guy made about like the memories and the nostalgia of playing Halo with your friends back when Halo Reach was in its prime. And then like the video had the guy like going back through the maps where they're empty and then like flashing up memories of him and his friends playing until they had to go to bed at night. And then it shows the guy in real life like seeing his friends list is empty and they're all offline, and it's like, and he turns his Xbox off. I literally just started bawling. I was like, that was my life.
Why did they have to make it so emotional?
Because nostalgia.
Nostalgia hurts.
Oh my god.
Nostalgia, bitch.
It's a
Anywho.
powerful thing, yeah.
We already started talking about the Green Knight a little bit, so we can get into that. So we've had 2 episodes of the new Green Knight tabletop Dungeons and Dragons kind of like spin-off.
Yeah,
I guess
so
is what it is.
when it comes to TTRPGs, it's most common to just like when I tell people like, what do you do for fun? I'm like, oh, I play video games and Dungeons and Dragons, because really nobody else knows any other games besides Dungeons and Dragons. But like there are so many different things, like indie developers create their own game. I have a podcast based on a world creation tabletop RPG, not based on D&D at all. So there are so many different types of RPG games, especially like the Green Knight. It is set up in different modules, so you set things up and you go, and it has certain endings, and it is a fantastic thing to get into because D&D isn't for everybody, but that's why there are so many different types of games.
Have you heard about the new Avatar: The Last Airbender tabletop?
Oh yeah, I backed that on Kickstarter.
Oh my god, that sounds amazing.
Oh yeah.
Can't wait.
Oh yeah.
So
I'm very excited.
Can't wait to see that.
From my understanding, this came about because Wayne pitched the idea, said, I want to try to do a tabletop RPG session with some people. And initially it was just, I want to do this with replayers. And I think it was Pagan kind of was like, well, let's see if we can do this on Virtual Replay. And they put it out on a tweet, and Erika was one of the people that were like, yes, I want to do this. And
Please.
there you go. They got it going. They got it worked out. They figured it out. And now we get to watch a extremely well edited version of this.
Right?
Like Steph always crushing it with the edits.
A hero, honestly.
So I haven't had a
God
chance
bless
to
you, Stephanie
digest a
Church.
lot of it. I've watched like a good portion of the first episode, and I got to ask Erika, what is your character and why?
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 We all
Why?
Just for God's sake, why?
Let me pull up the email where I sent it to Wayne, where I was like, here's my character idea. because I wanted to do something that I had never really played before.
Mhm.
I have done a lot of like warrior characters, a bunch of different other things, but I've wanted to play a character that's a little bit dull. And a little bit is not a strong enough word. She's very, very dull and very
Dull as
like
in not intelligent, or dull as in just
yes,
boring?
as in not intelligent.
Okay.
Just a
Dull as
doormat.
fuck.
Yeah. And so I was like, I wanted to have fun and explore the more creative side or comedic side
Okay.
of this character. And so when I sent it to Wayne, I said that my personality is dumb luck. Think big head from Silicon Valley. Not the smartest person, but they're happy and positive. And she's constantly like rolling uphill. Like she's succeeding upwards by not doing things. I think it was in like the second episode. I'm going to try not to give any spoilers. So I think it was the second episode where Daywin was like, she didn't get any dishonor points because she was being cowardice. And Eldor was very upset.
Oh, I actually just saw that in the first episode where he was
was
like,
in the first one?
so you're getting honor because you're a coward.
Yeah.
He's like, that doesn't seem right.
So it's part of her. She fails upwards. And I thought that would be just hilarious because I don't always get the chance to bring out my one-liners, like some of the things that she says, like Louise was mentioning earlier, like at the very end of an episode, where like, you know, the Green Knight, and she was like, he's green, and it's just I very rarely get to do that, and I felt that this platform was the best way to bring out that type of humor.
I think there's
So
a
I had
good
a lot of fun.
potential to play off of that stupidity with Pagan and Drew's character too, where they can just like eat it up whenever you go like hard into the character like that.
Eldor really just is so annoyed. I think he absolutely hates her.
I'm loving every single second of this. I told you guys right before this, but tonight will be my first induction ever into D&D. I'm a little excited about that with some friends. This is the film crew that I work with here in El Paso, and unfortunately we're not going to be recording this one, but we were thinking about eventually putting something together and just kind of seeing how it works. Especially imagine me learning, first of all, imagine me learning D&D in real time.
Learning by doing.
That.
No, that's exactly how I got into it. My very first session was live on Twitch. That was the very first time I had played, and it was live on Twitch. It's hard.
Well, there was a moment when I was listening to you guys all talking about your characters during the first episode, and I was like, okay, what kind of character would I do if I was in your guys' band? And I thought about it, and I was just like, okay, this I would have to talk to the DM about, and we would have to be in cahoots. Where I came up with a character, not for a game that I've done yet, but I want to call him Brave the Courageous. Brave the Courageous. And he's a giant, huge beast.
Oh, convenient.
And whenever he, like one of my favorite attacks, I was tying it over with a friend of mine. It's like, okay, one of them would be called Fuck It. Whereas that I throw my sword, I put up my hands and I say, fuck this. And then I walk away. And depending on the roll, if you get a smaller roll, that goes opposite. So he's trying to run away, but if you get a 1, it goes opposite, right? So he cuts off the foot of the character. When he tosses the sword, the character falls on top of the hilt and it goes right through their skull. So it's like, yeah, I meant to do that. And it just pulls back the sword. It's just like, yep, we're good. Total warrior. Yeah. So it's supposed to be an opposite effect. And I was like, that can only work for a comedy stream, though. You cannot do that in a real dungeon where I'm actually trying and I'm actually really giving it my all and everything.
You could. So, like with my podcast, just plug it right now. The Let Us In season 2 starts September 3rd. We do a thing called, so the system is called Arium, and we create the world. So that means we create our own abilities. We do everything. And so if you wanted, you could play that and have that exact thing. And it would work perfectly.
That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome.
That is awesome. Yeah. But that gave me the idea. I loved the whole thing. I loved all the banter and everything. And this last episode 2, the Fox thing.
I haven't watched the episode yet, so I'm very curious about all this Fox talk. All the Fox.
All I'm saying, I'm not giving anything away. There's a Fox. What was that name? I'm sorry.
Shinnok.
Yeah, I was saying the name of the Fox in question.
Oh,
Shinnok.
Shinnok, like from Mortal Kombat.
It's Irish for Fox.
Sure. Just watch the episode.
Shinnok. I will. I'm getting there. I'm working on it. Getting
It's
caught up.
awesome. I'm really excited for the finale.
Mm.
We recorded it last Monday.
I'm finding it very impressive already to know that they were like, this is like planned to be a 4-part thing that he's able to, like Dwayne Wayne is able to structure this and be like, this is gonna be 4 parts and make it work in that way. Like, man.
And that's why some episodes are shorter than others, because depending on what area you're doing or what like module part, some are just like 40 minutes, whereas like the beginning was almost an hour and a half originally. So the way that he's done it, I've made notes throughout playing because I'm like, this guy is such a brilliant GM, and I want to be him.
I've been catching up on Joven Shire's D&D show. If you've ever it's called Stuff of Legends, where it's a D&D game that he's playing with some friends, and a lot of the action sequences they put like to puppets. So there's puppet versions of all their characters acting out all the scenarios, and it's actually pretty darn entertaining. Like, especially when they're doing things that you wouldn't expect puppets to be doing, like cutting things in pieces or getting naked and whatnot.
But they're not.
It's interesting. So I've been enjoying that quite a bit, and I'm like,
on that note, really quick, I did want to give a little shout out to Amelia, who's been animating.
Oh my gosh!
And they are so cute. Amelia,
yeah, those are pretty cute.
Love them. They're so great. I hope at the very end she does like a big compilation photo with like all the characters and NPCs. I think that would be really cool. I'm gonna have to.
She's been doing more animation stuff on her YouTube, and it's been coming out pretty good. She's turning into something.
Really good.
She's something, all right. She's my friend.
She's very talented. Hey, Amelia.
Wow, this is just becoming the like Amelia Stan podcast.
Apparently.
All right.
Hey, I
deserves it.
All my friends. Yeah.
15 seconds of Amelia Brown.
Hey, we're sharing that positivity.
And that's what the Retro Replay channel is about. Right there. Boom, mic drop.
Boom.
Look how aggressive that is. We're wholesome as fuck.
Yeah.
Louis is the most aggressive.
Me too, that'd be great.
Louis is the most aggressive, wholesome person I've ever met.
Do anything, Luis?
So what?
I was like, do anything?
Not really. I don't constantly have plugs all the time.
Great smile.
Well, Louis is the most aggressive person. I'm the most quiet one.
Well, some final thoughts on my end. I have been enjoying what I've seen of the Green Knight RPG series so far. I gotta get caught up and finish what's out there now. I keep hearing you guys are all saying how good the finale is going to be, so that's interesting to see.
I'll send you all the check in the mail later.
A check in the mail. I would love to get into D&D myself if I had the time. Maybe, if I'm lucky. I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to get us moving on to the next topic of discussion, which is going to be the new game release called 12 Minutes. The main reason we're talking about this is because it was kind of like the main focus of this week's Retro Replay, between 12 Minutes trailer talk and then the 12 Minutes React video that was released. So we got a lot of 12 Minutes content for this week on Retro Replay. And it's interesting because I remember this game being announced back, I think in 2019 for an Xbox presentation.
It was back then?
It's been known about for a while, actually.
Because I felt like Drew when he was like, I don't remember this being a thing at all.
I didn't catch this. I've known about this game for a while, and it's been very hyped and very talked about, within the gaming world. Especially, it took a while because it's basically like a solo developer, with some help. And they featured it I think it was last year or last summer during E3, they were talking about like it's going to come to Game Pass, and everybody was like, oh, amazing, great, because everybody's excited for this game. And I wanted to do our own trailer talk initially for the trailer for 12 minutes, but now the game's come out, it's playable, and then Retro Replay was like, yeah, we're going to do this reacts video where they kind of basically played it on live stream for about an hour or so.
Yeah.
So unfortunate.
Yeah, with mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese?
That's his Twitter name.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought. I'm like, who the hell is this mac and cheese?
It was so great.
So I basically just decided, let's just kind of talk about 12 minutes and what you think of this kind of game. And are you going to play it? Have you played it? Any thoughts or feelings you want to share around the big topic of conversation that we've had on Retro Replay this week? And I'm going to make Nate start. Do it.
12 minutes. Well, I'd love to play it because, I have a PC, so a PC gamer, so that's right. But too bad it's not on PS4 or PS5. Well, I just have a PS4, but
it is on PC.
Yeah, I have a PC. Fortunately for me.
Oh,
well,
Erika.
I was planning to play it not like day one or anything because I'm busy right now with another game not related called Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut.
Nice.
Yes.
So 12 minutes. What can I say except that I pretty much like James McAvoy's work, as an actor, and seeing him being the main character on the 12 minutes. Well, that was pretty much surprising. I didn't know that he was in the cast, like Willem Dafoe and Daisy Ridley. And what can I say that hasn't been said on the trailer?
Well, how about this? Are you interested in this kind of a game? Like, do you look forward to trying to play this game at one point?
2 words. I do, because I love
the positive affirmation.
Some games like that. I have some like the thriller interactive games like that. I've been playing that a lot. Well, that's pretty nice. And that's pretty much it. All right, I'm done. You know I'm going to play this game anyway, so I'm not going to say anything there.
Real quick before I pass it off, I'll say that I put off watching the Retro Replay playthrough because I wanted to play the game first. And it's a mystery. It's a puzzle game. It's a game with the whole point is to solve what's happening. And I didn't want to watch anyone else doing it before I did it because they would change my experience playing the game. So I got to finally play a little bit, and then I went and watched it. But before we get into like my actual experience, I wanted to see what else you guys have to share. So I'll throw it to Louis now.
All right. Now I'm working a regular schedule at work. I do Monday through Fridays, 8 to 5. For those of you who don't know, that was not my existence for the past year and a half. It was very sporadic. That's why sometimes I was on the trailer talk. That's why sometimes I was able to be in the chats and all of that. Now it's 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, Mountain Time. So it's very difficult for me.
Living that 12 minutes life.
Yeah. Like for me, I think it's either from 12 to 1 or I think it's 1 to 2 for trailer talk. So I can't really join that. And with my job, I don't really get a lunch either. I just go straight through. So it's really difficult for me to be in the chat or anything like that. So I'll miss it a lot of the time. And when I saw trailer talk, 12 minutes, and then 12 minutes live. And I was like, which one do I take? Which one is the real one? Yeah, I had no idea what was the real one. And that's also kind of our fault because that's when we did our Zoom night. And we were originally going to watch live, but I was already kind of tipsy, and our conversation was riveting at the time.
Riveting.
It was awesome.
We were talking about Pokemon, if you recall.
Yeah, wholesome. Yeah,
not like you think, Erika. Not like you think.
Aww.
Family-friendly stuff, not other terrible things.
Anyways, what do you think about 12 minutes?
So I didn't watch it, and then oh, there you go. So I had no idea what this was, and I was busy all day yesterday, and I was busy most of the day today. Like I said, I caught up with the Green Knight RPG, and I started watching that for about 10 minutes before we got on here, and I'm like, who? McAvoy? What the hell is this? I hadn't heard about this game. I didn't know anything about it. I was just like, is it real? Why am I not? This is awesome. So I caught all of that in 10 minutes before I got on here with you guys. So I still have no freaking clue. I just saw what that was. I heard that they were talking to the guy that was doing some of the sound stuff for it. I don't know. I work in film. I don't know what that shit's called. And so I kind of got a gist of it, and I'm looking at it. It's not my kind of game, to be honest. I'm not big with those kinds of things like loops and stuff like that, except for I think it's the loopers or whatever, the one where you can shift yourself in and out, back and forth. It's on PS5, but I haven't got that yet. But
You're
this
talking about
one,
Deathloop?
Deathloop, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
that one.
Okay.
Yeah, that one
I
looks
would rather
amazing.
play 12 minutes than that.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
But then I saw who was a part of this. I saw the narrative, and I'm like, you know what? This might be one of those games that might break me out of the. I don't like it.
Mhm.
No, it's not. I don't like the top down. No, this is weird. I don't want this one. I'm like, fuck it. I'm playing this game because this looks amazing. However the hell I can get my hands on it on PC, thank God I could do that. So I'm yeah. This looks amazing in the 10 minutes that I saw.
Yep. I'm right. I'm roundabout there because I had to be in meetings and some other stuff at that time. And so I only caught a little bit of it. But at the short time that I watched, I was like, yeah, I need to play this. And so I messaged my husband not too long ago. I was like, hey, start downloading 12 minutes. We're going to play it.
On his Xbox?
So, yes, because I have a PlayStation. I mean, I do a PC, but some weird stuff's going on with the memory, so I can't download it. Still trying to work that out. If you remember that from the Gears of War episode I was on.
Oh, yeah.
Still trying to figure that out. But it looks so different. And being able to see like voice actors coming from big film into video games
Mm-hmm.
is so cool because it opens it up to possibly a wider audience because some people really love DeVoe and so they follow his projects and other things that he does. And they're like, he's in a video game besides a Spider-Man video game. I actually don't know if he was in a Spider-Man video game, but it wouldn't surprise me. And so they would want to play because they want to experience that, and then it opens up their world. And so I love seeing those types of people come in and do a couple of games. So I'm excited to play it and experience the frustration of trying to figure out this whole game.
It can get frustrating. I will admit that.
That's why I'm going to make my husband play and I'm gonna watch.
By the way,
Go ahead, Nate.
sorry to interrupt. Well, Willem Dafoe, it wasn't his first video game. It was on the Spider-Man video game.
So he was in
maybe
Spider-Man.
he is, but I don't know about that. But the only game I know that
I would say he's in Beyond Two Souls.
Ooh.
Beyond Two Souls, and also James Bond 007, Everything or Nothing on PS2.
Oh,
I did not know
okay.
that.
He was the
Dropping knowledge,
main
mind
villain.
drop.
Bam. That's what I like to see, Nate.
That's
Bringing
what
it
we
in
have.
hot.
Yes.
What's
Knowledge
up?
bomb. I appreciate the knowledge bomb, Nate.
Thank you.
I wanted to go back off of what you were saying, though, about the interesting thing about the voice actors, because when this game was announced, it didn't have those names attached to it.
Mm-mm.
And I remember seeing like the announcement show, like bang, bang, bang. Like now it has these big name actors in the game. And I have to imagine that is like people were looking at that game and going, ooh, this is different. Ooh, this is interesting. I want to see what this is. I want to see what this becomes. And then because the game gains so much interest and people like checking it out and being curious, the developer or the publisher Annapurna was probably like, let's start dropping some fat checks and get some big names in this thing so that it really hits home. It had to be how they would get those actors in there. But yeah, I mean, it'll definitely get the game a little bit more attention if it didn't already get a bunch. But
Yeah.
That's a really good kind of scope because you think of something like Death Stranding. It's like, yeah, yeah, we're gonna have big names. Like,
That game was
Mhm.
built.
Have
Keep going.
That game was literally made for Norman Reedus. Like
It really
Hideo Kojima
was.
was like, I like Norman Reedus. I'm putting his ass in a video game. Like,
yeah, but
Literally.
I mean, like that. And
That's
one
how
of
we
the
make,
things I can think at the top of my
most of
head.
his casts.
yeah.
Yeah, or like Call of Duties, you know, back before he sucked, Kevin Spacey, stuff like that. Like, you know, things. You see these giant studio games, and it's like, yeah, absolutely. Once or twice, they're gonna get some big names. You get something like this, it's so indie. That's got 3
Yeah.
amazing actors.
Seriously.
All 3 of these people are astounding in their own rights. And what? How the hell did I not hear? I'm kind of mad at myself.
Right?
That's like
I'm so-
Drew was like, how did this game go under my radar kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, like however mad he feels, I'm 1,000 times.
I will say this. I mean, I can call people out. Like, you haven't been listening to the TRP podcast enough because I definitely have talked about this game on this show before.
I'm so behind on
I
all
work
of my
with you, man.
podcasts.
I work with you. I don't watch what you do.
I was catching up with your own episode of TRP.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Anywho, to go a little bit into the game, I can say like I said, I played a couple of hours of it last night, and it's like you, Louis. It's not really like my typical cup of tea, but it's the mystery that pulls me in, and it's very much a game of trial and error. Trial and error can be 2 things. It can be really fun and satisfying, and it can be really frustrating because a lot of the times you will be like, okay, I'm going to try and do this and see what happens. And you're like, oh, okay, that's what happens. Cool. Now I'm going to try and do this. And then if it fails and you're like, okay, I did that wrong, let me try it again. You can make a simple mistake and cause the game to like, oh, now I'm stuck in the loop and I have to wait for it to end. And that's like, ugh. Especially because like once you see the same scenario play out a couple of dozen times and there's just like nothing you can do about it. I learned
That's
after
when you go to Google.
I don't do that. I'm not.
I do that
I'm not
constantly.
that
Oh,
kind
me
of gamer.
too.
I
He's gonna do
rarely will
that
Google
just to give him
things
some time.
until I
Dang.
get super stressed about something. But it is
Dang.
extremely rewarding and satisfying when you actually figure something out in the game and you're like, oh, shit. All right,
I
okay,
did
okay.
it.
Let me do this. Let me do this. I was a little annoyed when I watched part of the ending of the
Oh.
reacts where their guest, who was one of the people who kind of worked on the game, he kind of pointed them in the direction of a big item, the pocket watch. And I was a little like, and there was somebody else in the comments said something too about like, it's so much better to learn how to find the pocket watch without
Yeah.
knowing.
I can see why he may have done it for production
Yeah,
type
probably to kind of like
reaction.
move
Keep
things
it moving
along.
forward. But I absolutely agree. It is
Yeah.
a lot more rewarding to figure it out on your own.
So
I will look something up when I know I've like if my neck starts getting really warm and I'm getting frustrated, I'm like, for me to Google this thing because I'm gonna rage quit.
this is what I want to recommend to anyone out there who's going to play this game. If you've watched the playthrough or if you've seen it, I would say try to get the pocket watch without knowing where it is. Like if you know where it is,
Yeah.
pretend you don't know. Wait to see when the game actually tells you where it is.
It's a good idea.
There's a pocket watch.
Yeah. So
I did end up seeing that part in the end. I saw a little bit at the beginning and then
because the way
Well,
you
I mean-
learn about the pocket watch is kind of horrible.
Oh,
Like it's
Ooh.
devastating. And then you got to restart the loop and you're like, okay, now I know it's
yeah.
there.
Like
Ooh.
for me, those kinds of games, the reason why they don't always hit home for me, like Dark Souls, for
Hmm.
example. When you make it to
The
a
face
point
Eric
where it's
makes.
like you kind of just have to get lucky, or you have to know exactly how to do it. It's fine to be able to have the time and the tenacity to learn that on your own. But I got the shit I got to do, dude. There's a lot of games out there. They're all 50 hours each because that's what you have to do. Every movie's over 2.5 hours because that's what you got to do. There's a lot of shit, man. I fucking Google, and then I determine, oh, I could have figured that out. Or I just go like, no, there's no way. You're an idiot. And whoever developed this needs to be just like held over a bridge for a few hours, just a few. I don't want him dead. Just hold him by his feet and threaten him for, you're going to die. That needs to happen because that's how I feel right now, you ass. But every to each their own. You know, if that's the game you like, go for it. You have fun.
It's
Weirdo.
funny because I have a very inverse perspective on that exact thing, because I love those kind of crushing hard games and I'll play them for hours on end. But I look at an RPG and they're like, you expect me to play this game for 60 hours? Go fuck yourself. Like, but I'll play one of those brutal hard games for days.
But then you get something so good, and that's what challenged me on this one. Like, I love the GTA games, but eventually I stopped playing them. Same thing with Fallout. With Red Dead, that was so different. It was so good. Red Dead 2.
Yeah.
I did everything. I was like, 80 hours?
Really,
I don't give a shit.
They've really neglected the online mode, and it makes me very upset.
Well, okay.
I haven't played in a while.
I started getting into it with some buddies.
I'm also upset about that.
It's changed. It's so much better.
It's changed
than
a lot.
Yeah, like there's a lot to do online.
But yeah, you're talking about like, you just might play all this time in RPG, and I'm sitting here like, I just calculated my time in ESO.
Yeah.
It's over 3,000 hours.
Shit.
Well, an online game like that is a little different, because I've played MMOs too, where I'll lose myself in it for days. Or like I can look at my time on Xbox and it'll be like, how many days of Battlefield have I played? 300? Cool. 300 days of playtime.
300 days.
And then he's gonna check any MMO he played, like 1,500 hours.
What? What? It's so different when you put it into those kinds of perspectives. Even if you're only playing like a half hour of each game a night, you got 5 games that you're going through half an hour. You got a couple hours in, that's it, and then you go back to those little things that tell you, like the calculations. The last one that I saw that did that was Overwatch. I haven't played that game in over a year, maybe 2 years now. But when I did play it a lot, because no one will play with me. When I did play a lot, in the first maybe 3 months that it was out, I had already clocked in like close to 47 days. I was like,
yes.
I basically have only lived this game for a long time.
It's so funny when that happens though, because like that's how I am with Valhalla. Like I played over 100 hours in it, and then they came out with 2 new DLCs, and I've been playing those, and I'm like, I'm getting absolutely lost in these games again, and I'm not mad about it in the least. And that's how you know that it's a good game.
Absolutely, yeah. And so that's why, like, this kind of a game, I could see myself getting frustrated with 12 minutes. I could see myself probably leaving for a little bit, collecting myself, and then coming back. Maybe playing something that's a little more rewarding, like I'll like what was it called again? Like casino or
instant gratification. No.
Yeah. Well,
instant gratification.
Like, I'm not talking Candy Crush or anything like that. Like Doom, it's satisfying. You kill everything right then and there.
Mindless.
Get over to the next one.
That's what always like for me. It's the mindless game. Like I turn my brain off and I'll play something like Call of Duty or Doom. Something where you're just running around blasting people and you don't have to think about it.
Exactly. But this game, I'll give it 2-3 solid hours of serious intellectual thinking and processing and really trying to cultivate. Okay, now I got to go kill some zombies. Fuck. Oh my God. Like I do this rinse and repeat over and over again.
Then it'll hit you while you're in the middle of killing a zombie. You're like, oh, that one thing I should have done.
Yeah. And then I die because the zombie killed me and I wasn't paying attention. Damn it.
That's basically what I went through last night when I was playing. I hit probably a snag for a good hour, and it was like, oh crap, it's like after midnight, I need to get to bed. And then I was like, I need to make some sort of progress before I stop. And that kept me going for a while. And then I finally hit that little bit of like, okay, I've learned something new. Now I need to stop and go to bed. Anyways,
it was like 3 a.m.
about it. Yeah.
Okay, just one more puzzle. One more. Damn it.
I have this
damn it.
Now it's 5 a.m.
That I tell my husband, or it's like, if you think you have time for one more, you don't. And so I have to tell him that because it's true.
Shut up, Erika.
You have time for one more.
And now it's 7 a.m. Go back to work.
not wrong.
Damn it, that's right.
Not wrong.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to move us on to the last segment here where I am going to try something new on the Replayer podcast. We are going to play a game.
Yeah.
Woo. So I have figured out and set up a little game for us. Right now it's just a Metacritic game. I don't really have a name or a title for it, but essentially, here's the rules. For this game, I will provide several games and details of each game. You as a player need to guess what you think the game score is on Metacritic. The objective is to get as close to the score as possible, and for every point that you're off will add to your total. The person with the least points will win. The game will test your sense of gaming, or you may win just by pure dumb luck.
That's how Daywin would win.
That is how Daywin would win. I will also change the order of who's answering so that it doesn't like lean into any one person specifically. Especially like if one person's got a heavier game knowledge than the other person. So it'll kind of like throw things off a little bit. So no looking up your scores. No looking at your phone at Metacritic.
I've never actually looked at Metacritic ever.
So they basically make a average of ratings of critics' scores of things. They do it for everything essentially. So this is specifically looking at video games. It's a 100-point scale. Everything is 0 to 100. 100 being great, amazing. 0 being terrible. So the theme of this week's game is going to be action adventure games.
Yes.
And I'm going to start off with one that's close to home. So number 1, the original 2003 PS3 release featuring our favorite voice actor, Nolan North, in Uncharted Drake's Fortune.
Ooh.
And I'm going to send it to Erika first. What do you think the Metacritic score of Uncharted 1 is?
87.
All right.
Also, I've never seen the tattoos on your arms before. What are they?
Mine?
Yeah.
Oh, well, we can talk about that later.
Okay, sorry. That was my idea. Is like tattoos? What is that?
Okay, I'm gonna win this. Plus, those are cool tattoos. What do you?
Nate, what do you think the score is?
Personality.
85.
Okay. And you can do anything you feel you need to do to logic out and think about the reasoning as to why the score is if you need to. Louis, what is your guess?
Well, it was 85.
You can say 85.
I stole your score.
You can say whatever you want.
You know what? It's the first in the series. Is it at the time or is it as it sits now?
I mean, it's a congruent score of all time, essentially.
Okay, so it's as it sits because I've seen them fluctuate.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say just because they compare them a lot of the time to the newer ones that come out, I'm gonna give it an 83. So we got two.
Okay.
It's pretty good.
Two
all
deviations. Right. And when
cool.
it's 85, I'm gonna be mad at you, Nate.
All right. So number 2, this PlayStation classic was the genre-defining hero adventure game starring Lara Croft as she hunted down treasure, fought off mercenaries, and the occasional T-Rex in 1996's Tomb Raider for the PlayStation 1. And we're going to start it off with Nate.
This one, I'm going to say 92.
Okay. And then Louis. If you need to talk it out and try to think of why you think a certain score, have at it.
It's the first one, right?
The original, the very first one.
First one. I know the second one will be a lot higher.
And like I said, you can kind of pull like a Price is Right on this. If you think, well, maybe they're right, I'm going to piggyback. That's why this game is good for anyone.
I'm doing 85.2 earlier.
No
just
points
to be that Price is Right dick. That's like $30.01.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not Rick. All right. Original Tomb Raider, I'm going to say 87.
87. All right. And Erika, what do you think?
Let's see. This was the first video game I think I'd ever actually seen.
Really?
Yeah, because I watched my dad play this and it was awesome. But now I'm curious. I'm trying to.
Well, lean into that. Think about what do you think the general consensus of this game is?
Well, and especially because the games progressively got better, but I think the reviews of this isn't a review of the most recent games.
Right. Now, remember, this is a conglomerate score based on the people who reviewed it, at the time. There's not going to be new reviews of this game.
They released it just recently, actually.
The original Tomb Raider. I mean, it got the anniversary, like the remaster, but this is the original game as it stands.
I think I'm going to go completely opposite of everybody, and I'm actually going to give it a lower score of 72.
All right. And this is where things
That's
get
baldy.
interesting. This is where things
That's
get
pretty
interesting.
baldy.
I know. I'm probably going to regret it, but
All right. So number 3, get your whip ready as you take control of Indiana Jones in the Tomb Raider inspired take in this 2003 game of Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb. We're going to start this one with Louis. What do you think Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb got? It was very much a Tomb Raider-esque version of an Indiana Jones game. They basically said, hey, that looks like Indiana Jones. We're going to make an Indiana Jones game that looks like Tomb Raider, and kind of copy and pasted the formula.
But
I haven't
maybe
even
way
heard
better
of
than
this game.
Angel of Darkness.
I hadn't heard of it either.
Yeah, exactly.
Shit. So let's go for the nice 69.
69? All right.
Hey.
Hey,
Hey,
Erika, what do you think?
42.
Ooh,
Because
42.
I've
solid mark.
never heard of this, and I feel like there hasn't been one since, and that's because it was terrible.
I mean, that sound logic. You know, there's a lot of Indiana Jones games from in the 90s. They were all
Yeah.
point and click adventures.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
Maybe
seen the
LucasArts.
titles, but I never knew of the actual like,
Mhm.
mechanics.
And Nate, what do you think?
Yeah. I sacrificed for comedy on this one. I want that.
Well, the only thing I know about that is that, Tomb Raider Angel of Darkness was pretty lame. So I'm going to say 67.
Okay. I will say this. That game recently got re-released on Xbox through Games with Gold. It's playable on Xbox One now.
I don't have an Xbox. So bad.
So if you have an Xbox and it came out, it was Games on with Gold like 3 months ago or something like that. You can play that game on Xbox now, backwards compatible.
New bad games that get re-released is kind of the video game equivalent of, oh God, this smells terrible. Here, you smell it.
Yes.
Bye.
You need to smell this. All right.
Oh.
Number
some people-
4. Now, this next game you may not have heard of, but it's been compared to Uncharted and God of War. This zany and over-the-top action-adventure takes clear inspiration from the previous titles mentioned in 2013's Marlo Briggs and the Mask of Death. Just so you know, I purposely threw in some random ones to kind of mix things up.
I know you, and I'm positive that's what you were gonna do. I thought they
So
were
we're
all
gonna-
gonna be random.
right now.
We're going to
What?
start this
Yeah.
one with Erika.
Good luck.
I'm going to mid-range. I'm going to say like 54.
All right.
I'm just going to go mid-range.
Okay. Nate, what do you think?
I'm going to be a bit lower, like 48.
48. And Louis?
What is the main character?
What is he?
Yes, is it like an animal? Is it a?
He's a man. He's an action hero. Like I said, it's been compared to Uncharted. It's been compared to God of War. He's like a hero character trying to save the world. It's very much in the vein of those games.
So I was just on my phone, but I had to text my brother. He was
Okay.
calling me.
I didn't even see
I'm not cheating. I'm not cheating.
it.
So
My phone is on my
let's see the
desk right
text.
now, so-
Let's see the text, Erika. See
Okay.
what you're gonna.
I'm on a podcast right now.
Mm.
Oh, that's amazing.
Tell me the Metacritic score of this game I've never heard of.
He's 16.
You text all of
Be
that
quick.
out. You'll text. Tell me the score, the Metacritic score of this game. Name the game rather than just naming the game and seeing the Metacritic score immediately pop up. That's great. Been compared. Has it been compared favorably?
For the most part.
Okay. I have one more question
No, we
that
were
I don't
about
think
to
anybody
ask
else.
those questions.
I have a question that nobody here has asked, and I want to test it. What is the Metacritic score, Dan?
I know what it is. I'm not telling you.
Damn it. I had to try. I had to
You are a
try.
knight.
This is our 12 minutes. I'm gonna say that's probably gonna be one of those ones that kind of comes up behind you. I'm gonna say it's 82.
All right. I do have a tiebreaker game if we need it. But
If-
yeah, if anyone ties, I have a tiebreaker game.
Tell us after the fact.
right.
Come on.
So I'm going to take a moment and kind of calculate everybody's scores. All right.
Forget the promotional video.
I did so good.
All right.
And we
Now,
did so good about
we're
this
ready to
portion.
learn who the winner is. Are you guys ready?
No!
So,
We're born ready.
in third place
Get my hype.
is Erika
I knew it.
with 36 points.
It was that one that I scored a 42, wasn't it?
I will go over the scores afterwards.
Okay.
And then-
I'll be
so-
You'll know why later.
The winner of today's Metacritic game is, little drum roll, Nate.
Damn it! Judy!
patient. Good job, Nate. Louise could have rage quit and walk away.
By 1 point.
Thank you. It's been an honor. Thank you. I want to dedicate this victory to my parents, my friend, and all of these good people.
I love it.
Nate
I
had
wanna
28
dedicate this
points.
Victory to Louis for losing.
Nate had
No,
28
because I know
points
you're
and
gonna quit
Louis
after
had
that.
29.
Jesus Christ.
So I want to go over some of these. So the Metacritic scores
wow.
on these games. Uncharted was an 88, and you all guessed very close to that. You were all pretty close on that.
87.
yeah.
The
you got it.
original Tomb Raider is a 91. So Erika, that definitely didn't help you. You went low on that one.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The Indiana Jones game actually wasn't that bad. It's 73. So you all kind of went a little low on that. I mean, Louis, you said 69. Nate said 67. So you guys weren't too far off. Erika went 42. So that
Go
definitely.
big or go home.
I mean, that's kind of the trick. You
That
might
was go
win
low.
amazingly in that way. That's what's cool about this game is you could win by just doing
Yeah.
that kind of
That's
thing.
true.
Let's see. So then there's the God of War Uncharted kind of knockoff game. The Marlowe Briggs is actually a 66. Like a
Dang.
pretty decently high game
That
or
is
score,
pretty good.
especially for a game you've never heard
What was
of.
Yeah.
What was it?
66.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
So you guessed high, Louis, but yeah, I mean, that's if you went a little lower.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then my tiebreaker
man.
game that I had this week was going to be 2010's Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Sands.
Oh, I'm going to say
Oh.
90.
You gonna say 90 on that?
I'm going to say 90.
I was gonna say 92.
Do it. Okay, because here's what I was thinking. If
What
I
was that,
had
Eric?
85, I'd have beaten you by 2 points. If I'd stuck with my 85.
I'll tell you right now, there are very few games that have hundreds. So
94.
it's actually the lowest scoring Prince of Persia game at 74
Oh,
of the console releases. Of the
That I
console
really
releases.
man. Slow.
What happens
There-
if I rage quit? What happens now?
There
Bye.
are. Well, that one didn't matter anyways. They would have been
I
your
know.
tiebreaker.
You're in second place. That's nice, Luis.
The only
Well
Prince of Persia
won,
games
my
that scored
friend.
less than that are handheld like DS and PSP games.
Oh, my husband has got PSP
Mm.
and like a Vita and stuff. Absolutely loves it. They're
Well, if I had a
Yeah,
theme,
be that bro.
if I had a theme prepared for this little game, I'd be like, yay!
That was seriously awesome. I loved that.
I think that was a lot of fun.
You should keep going with that.
I will try. We'll see how the audience receives it.
If the audience
hope
could
it's
see
well.
the banter that we had while you were racking up the scores, that would
No,
that
they
would-
will never know, Louis.
That
It
will
didn't
make the whole
exist.
show. It's
Put
in
it
the blooper reel.
I was gonna say
They
put it in the
complete the
blooper reel at
Blu-ray.
the end.
There we go.
Mhm.
Real. Oh yeah.
That
Hey,
way
we'll
you
get paid for that.
All right, guys, this is the time where we're going to wrap up the show. I'm going to give each of you a chance to share some socials and anything you might be working on, and we're going to start it with Louis.
As usual, you know where to find me. Somerset, Skeleton Crew on YouTube. Also working with Deadpan and sometimes on the replayer shows. Also, retroreplayshow.com. My articles. Thank you. Bye.
Concise for
that was
once.
perfect.
I have practice.
And Nate, anything you would like to share with the audience?
All right. So on my Facebook, you can watch. You can see me on my personal Facebook name, Nate Tanner Nayad, because Nayad is my real name. And I know that for all English people, my name is complicated, so I'd love to be called Nate. And I'm mostly on my Twitch channel named Nate Tanner 31100.
Sweet.
Love it.
What you been streaming lately?
Well, I'm on the Jack and Dexter marathon, so I'm on Jack 2 right now,
nice.
and I almost finished Judgment, but I'm on a farming time right now. Well, I'm farming on stream. Yeah, I do that.
Cool.
Nice.
There we go.
Jack and Dexter's a great series.
And I started the Ghost of Tsushima Iki Island DLC.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Cool. Erika, how about you?
Yeah, you can find me pretty much everywhere. Instagram and Twitter under Onduin Gaming. I have a TTRPG podcast, which we start recording this Thursday. Season 2 is going to premiere September 3rd. It's got a little bit of a creepier undertone this season. If you listen to the first season, it was Mouse Guard, and it was hilarious and adorable. And this one's going to be a lot different. We're excited for the big shift that we've done for doing Arium every season. So we're really excited about that. And our new cast members, they are fantastic.
Nice. Not to mention, you can find Erika on the Friday episodes of the Retro.
Wait. And you can find
There you go.
you can find me. It's like so new for me and like absolutely surreal that sometimes I forget like it's not a dream.
Mm-hmm.
I'm part of the cast for the Green Knight on Retro Replay. That's gonna be premiering on Fridays for the next 2 more weeks.
2 more weeks.
It is
Finale.
so good. It is so good.
I need to finish the first episode. And then before finishing this episode, I have something to say to Luis right now.
Oh God.
Luis Reza, would you be my opponent on the next Retro Feud when it's gonna get on live?
Ooh, it's a challenge. It's a Retro Feud.
I gotta reclaim my honor.
Yeah.
Bring it, Nate. See what you got.
I approve.
All right, it's a
I love
challenge.
All right.
We'll make it happen. All right, folks, and of course, you can find me on all platforms as Stark Evil Vash. I am Stark E Vash on Twitter. That's STARKYVASH. This has been a really fun, interesting episode of the podcast. I appreciate you guys. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you for playing my game today. I think it was fun.
Inviting us.
Oh yeah.
That was
good.
great.
Thanks for thinking of me.
Thinking. With that, folks, game over. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You are dead.
That's Louis' thing.
That's what I
I
said.
say game over. Louis says you are dead.
Every time I think of game over, all I see is you're dead and Resident Evil. Every time. While the dogs are just doing that.